Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
We are starting a new book.
We sure are. What book are we starting?
We are starting Jeremiah.
We are. We are done with Isaiah and into Jeremiah.
Yes.
And he's not a bullfrog.
He's not. He's a prophet.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this one goes.
I don't have high hopes, but it's not Isaiah at any rate.
I have a prophecy.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
That God's going to suck.
Because God's a dick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
All right, you ready to get into Jeremiah?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we're about to hop into the book of Jeremiah.
We sure are.
And we know he's not a bullfrog, but other than that, we don't know a lot about him.
I don't know shit about Jeremiah.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do now because I took some notes.
Yeah.
And so I thought I would give us a little intro before I hop into chapter 1.
Okay, sure. Yeah?
So the book of Jeremiah is the longest book in the Bible.
Oh, fucking hell.
I know. It has fewer chapters. It only has 52 chapters.
But they're going to be longer chapters.
And that's what I'm getting out of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Although this first chapter isn't too long. It's like medium length, whatever.
Sure.
Judgment, repentance, faith, and restoration are major themes and of this book.
That seems to be
the Bible.
Yeah.
Jeremiah lived circa 650 BCE to circa 570 BCE.
So he kind of followed up Isaiah.
Uh-huh.
Like he was...
I think they might have overlapped. Maybe.
Right, sure.
But
he came after Isaiah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Jeremiah was also called Jeremias, or he's also known as the weeping prophet.
I see.
So I don't know why. I hope we figure that out.
All right.
Jeremiah was one of the major prophets of the Hebrew Bible. And according to Jewish tradition, Jeremiah authored the book of Jeremiah, the books of Kings, so both 1st and 2nd Kings.
All right.
And the book of Lamentations. Sorry, I lost my place.
Which we have not got to.
Right. So apparently he did that one too.
Okay.
With the assistance and under the editorship of Baruch Ben-Neriah, his scribe and disciple.
I've heard that name before.
Baruch Ben-Neriah?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Not to me.
I don't know why, but I feel like I've heard that name before. So
okay.
Maybe it's a popular... I don't know.
Well, if you figure it out, let me know.
We should... I mean, it's a name... They got a name.
Yeah.
And, so that must mean they're something.
He's somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
He either wrote it or helped Jeremiah write all that shit.
Interesting. That sounds like a special episode later. Maybe.
Sure.
Probably.
Sure. The consensus among scholars is that there was a historical prophet named Jeremiah, and that portions of the book probably were written by Jeremiah and or his scribe Baruch, as I just said.
Okay. All right.
Jeremiah is an important figure in both Judaism and Christianity. Islam also regards Jeremiah as a prophet, and his narrative is recounted in Islamic tradition.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I probably could have gone on and said more, but that I think lays the good foundation for, who the fuck, why?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to start Jeremiah chapter 1.
Sounds great.
The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests at Anathoth in the territory of Benjamin.
Okay.
The word of the Lord came to him in the 13th year of the reign of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah, and through the reign of Joachim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, down to the 5th month of the 11th year of Zedekiah, son of Hosea, king of Judah, when the people of Jerusalem went into exile.
Fuck.
Right?
That was a lot to follow.
It really was. Toward that end, I am going to break away from reading for a second and go back to my notes here.
Okay, sure.
So This chapter serves as an introduction to the book of Jeremiah and relates Jeremiah's calling as a prophet. And what we just read was the first 3 verses, which are referred to as the superscription, where they're not really verses, they're an intro.
Got it. Yeah. Here's the family line. This is why he's a prophet.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And we've seen that before in some books. I don't always point it out hardcore, but because this one is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So verses 1 through 3 serve as a superscription that gives the introduction to the whole book by stating authoritative claims for its content. For 40 years, Jeremiah conveyed the word of the Lord to the people from the 13th year of King Josiah in 627 BCE until the deportation of the people from Jerusalem about 587 BCE. Okay?
Yep.
And so we start off with these first 3 verses with telling us who Jeremiah is. And according to Judges, the book of Judges, Anathoth was one of the Levitical or priestly cities. So, where it just said that's where he's from.
Yep.
Located within the land of the tribe of Benjamin, about 3 miles northeast of Jerusalem.
Okay.
And so he wasn't in the city. He was on the outskirts of it. And from certain vantage points in Anathoth, the walls of Jerusalem would be in full view. Okay. So, like I said, he grew up not in the great capital, but within sight of it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's where we are.
Okay.
And okay, let me
get back to where you gotta go.
Reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I don't normally go back and forth like this, but it just started out so
abruptly.
Yeah. This is a lot of information and 3 verses, go. And I was like,
right.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to break that down.
Sure.
So I feel a little bit better now. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The word of the Lord came to me. So now I'm Jeremiah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you.
Oh, okay.
Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and I will rescue you, declares the Lord.
Wow.
Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I've put my words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant.
At the age of 13?
At the age of 13.
Huh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So now I'm going to go back to my notes a little bit because I got a little bit more to say.
All right.
Okay. King Josiah, that's when he started. That's when Jeremiah got called originally.
Right.
King Josiah was one of the better kings of Judah, and he was zealous for reform. According to 2 Chronicles, it was in the 8th year of Josiah's reign that he, quote unquote, sought the Lord, and a few years later began an aggressive campaign to purify Israel of idolatry and to return to the Lord. So God called both Josiah and Jeremiah to serve him and his people at the same time.
I see.
So this would have been better served to read way back then. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So in that list of kings that they gave, that we were in the first 3 verses and we were like, WTF, that's a lot of things.
Right.
There were 2 kings that were omitted. And that was in verse 3 specifically. And they were probably omitted because their reigns were so short, comprising only 3 months each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you remember, when we read Kings.
Yeah.
There were
some that didn't make it very long.
Yeah. And that's why they were omitted from this list.
Got it.
Let's see. Just making sure I don't need any other notes here.
Okay.
Oh, it says the 5th month. The official ministry of Jeremiah ends at the time of the deportation of the people from Jerusalem in July or August of 587 BCE in the early part of the 6th century BCE.
Which is going to be very interesting to see, kind of because we're seeing them this is going to butt right up against the exile.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how this whole thing transitions into that, or at least gets close to it anyway.
Exactly. So with regard to the call and preparation of the call and preparation to the prophet Jeremiah.
Right.
Ancient Jewish legends say that Jeremiah was so called that he was born circumcised and that he came out of the womb prophesying. Right? I was like, oh, I have to include that in my notes. In fact, as the legend goes, in his out of the womb prophecy, he complained of the faithlessness of his mother.
Oh,
when she protested, he had to explain that he meant quote unquote mother as a symbol for Jerusalem. He's like, bitch, I ain't talking about you.
Oh my God. these are like fish stories, right?
Yeah,
like this shit is just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, he came out uncircumcised because
so...
he was so holy. Like, well, how's your dick looking? That'll tell me how holy you are. What does your dick look like? Like, okay.
Right.
In verse 6 where he was like, dude, I'm too young. I can't do this. Like, what?
Yeah.
Jeremiah was probably anywhere from 17 to 20 years old at this time.
Oh,
it was in the 13th year
of that king's reign.
Yeah, Josiah's reign.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
He likely felt that his inexperience due to his young age prevented him from being a good or authoritative messenger of God's word.
Got it.
So, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Okay, so back to reading.
Yep.
Okay. The word of the Lord came to me. What do you see, Jeremiah? I see the branch of an almond tree, I replied. The Lord said to me, you have seen correctly, for I am watching to see that my word is fulfilled. Okay.
Okay.
I gotta go back to my notes again.
Okay.
I know. I'm doing that a lot this time around.
Yeah.
But there was a lot in this.
Got
it.
Okay.
So that thing that I just read, Anathoth remains a center for almond growing to this day. And if you visit the area in early spring, you will witness the unforgettable sight of almond trees in bloom. But that's not the important bit.
Okay.
Here we go. This is why I wanted to read this. The Hebrew word for almond tree, seked, is close to and derived from the Hebrew word for watchful, soked.
Okay.
These verses contain a play on words that is lost in English. So when he said, you have seen correctly, for I'm watching to see that my word is fulfilled. That was a play on words when he's like, I see
I gotcha.
almond tree.
Sure.
So that makes it a little, okay, I'll let you have that because I love wordplay.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wonder how many times we've missed stuff like that where we're like, that's stupid.
Right. I mean, I'm certain there is so much lost in translation.
Yeah. Not even lost in translation, but like stuff that I didn't look closely enough at notes to see if there was anything there.
Right.
That me and you missed.
Sure.
That scholars might have.
Oh, I'm sure we've missed tons. Tons.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going back to reading now. And again, apologies for going back and forth. I don't normally do this, but you can see why I had to put that,
It's
right?
a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. The word of the Lord came to me again. What do you see? I see a pot that is boiling, I answered. It is tilting toward us from the north. The Lord said to me, from the north, disaster will be poured out on all who live in the land. I'm about to summon all the peoples of the northern kingdoms, declares the Lord.
Wow.
Their kings will come and set up their thrones in the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem. They will come against all her surrounding walls and against all the towns of Judah. I will pronounce my judgments on my people because of their wickedness in forsaking me, in burning incense to other gods, and in worshiping what their hands have made. Get yourself ready. Get ready. Stand up and say to them whatever I command you. Do not be terrified by them, or I will terrify you before them.
Wow.
Don't be scared, or I'll give you something to be scared about, right?
Yeah.
Today I have made you a fortified city, an iron pillar, and a bronze wall to stand against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, its officials, its priests, and the people of the land. They will fight against you, but will not overcome you, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord.
Wow. God really cares about this Jeremiah dude.
Yeah. So that is it for Jeremiah chapter 1.
Okay. That was a very strong introduction,
right, to
this new character.
Yeah. Like we're off to the races with this one. I don't mind it so far. They had
backstory. They had, why, like, gave his authority reasons and said how he's starting out. Like this is a much better story.
Yeah.
So far.
I like too that it there's a note about it that he wrote this either with or it was written by an editor.
Right.
You know, his disciple or follower, helper.
I would think that would mean that this is going to be a little bit stronger.
Right.
You know, like as far as the way it's read and
the
way it reads.
Yeah, so I'm into it.
So far.
Insofar as it's the Bible.
Yeah, it's still right. I mean, God's still going to be apparently destroying Israel and you know, Judah. People are not doing good enough things and it's still going to be the same shit.
Right. But at least this might be a little bit less painful.
Yeah.
And that's a plus in my book.
I agree. Before we wrap up completely here, I do want to remind people that tomorrow, so if you're listening to this on Monday when it comes out, tomorrow, Tuesday, we do a live Discord event every single Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. The link is always in the show notes for the newer episodes. So just click down there to head over to the Discord. We don't care that you don't know how to use Discord. No one there knew how to use Discord before joining, hardly.
I still don't know.
Yeah, wife still doesn't know. She's getting better, though.
I got into the room a couple times by myself now, and they don't even call it a room. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. Get over there.
So much fun.
We do.
At the Discord events. We really want to see you all there, so please join. And then that was Jeremiah chapter 1.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that tomorrow we're going to be back with
Jeremiah chapter 2.
All right, we'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.